Hello, Amsterdam. Maybe first by like show of hands. Who here has built something previously with an open source model? Like not GPT, not Claude, not Gemini? Okay, nice, 7 people. At the previous event it was 4 people, so that's already better, congratulations.
This is AI thinkers after all.
Yeah, very nice. Maybe the most famous open source model that was recently in the news is DeepSeek, and more specifically DeepSeek R1. A lot of people have the notion that open source models don't really compete with the likes of GPT, Claude, or Anthropic. But I'm here today not to prove you wrong, but to prove you with tools that you can use to discover that yourself. So my name is...
You didn't art it yet?
Hmm?
You didn't art it yet?
No, I didn't. So I work for Featherless AI. We're basically a serverless inference provider for all large language models on Hugging Face, well, all open weight large language models on Hugging Face. Maybe because Cormick just spoke about LLM evals, let's go to this project first, which was actually inspired by this tweet by the big and great Andrej Karpathy. We often have these evaluations like MMLU, where people test these models on, and we get these fancy numbers, and everybody is like, wow, the score increased by 3%, amazing. But what if you would like test these against like actual things that people use? As you see, like with the latest Claude model as well, they've also tested it on Pokemon, which is also not a basic research question or something like that. It's more of a, let's say, agentic workflow. So I've made this kind of LLM Chess Arena where you can put 2 models against each other. Right now, Qwen 2.5 and DeepSeek R1 are playing against each other. Now, a spoiler, LLMs are not great at playing chess, obviously. They're predicting next tokens, they don't really have any strategy. But you can like try this for yourself. All projects I'm gonna show you tonight, by the way, are fully open source. I'll show you the link at the end. You can test it out yourself. But yeah, LLMs are not great at chess, except, surprisingly, GPT 3.5 is pretty great at chess. And why? It has been trained on a lot of chess data. GPT 3.5 is actually the best. I haven't tried the new O3 model yet, but the best GPT model in chess, surprisingly better than 4 and 01. So yeah, it's just interesting to think about how do we evaluate these models, and are there other ways than just these fancy scores that we can use. Now, what else is possible with open source models? Maybe some of you who here has heard about the Google's Notebook LM, where it was like a fancy podcast. So this week I've actually made something similar. I still have to work on the front end, but I made it in Jupyter Notebooks.
This is the best one.
Yeah, the best practice indeed. I'm gonna spare you maybe the boring stuff. This is all basically prompting. I use different models. For example, here I use a fine-tune from one of our users, who fine-tuned Qwen 2.5 on more specifically role-playing. So that who here is familiar with fine-tuning? To briefly explain it, very simple. It's basically where we take a large language model and try to specify it in a more specific data set. For example, to give an easy example, if I wanted to learn it to play Pokemon, I would train it on a data set of ways of completed Pokemon games, and then it would know how to play Pokemon, for example. So this user made an RP/story writing specialist model, and I use that to create my podcast script. And then I actually also I was looking for like an easy model for people that don't have great GPUs to run a TTS model, and I used Hexgray Kokoro. It's only 82 million parameters. I don't know if any of you use it, because I also was looking for something that didn't sound too robotic, like a lot of sound like Google Translate, right? The smaller you get, and that's not really nice. And then I actually made a podcast on this PDF. It's a very basic PDF for this example. It's just an intro to data science, let's say. And then the result is this.
Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of our podcast. We're diving deep into the world of data and exploring how it powers the incredible language models we use every day. From Shakespeare's plays to Reddit threads and scientific papers, these vast oceans of data are the bedrock of modern AI. Today...
Don't worry, I'm not gonna let you listen to the whole 11-minute thing. Now, you might be wondering what is like the most prominent use case for these fine-tuned models? Why don't people just use GPT for everything? What we've noticed at Featherless is that I would say over 50% of these fine-tuned models are getting used for actually role play. I don't know who here is familiar with character AI. So character AI is basically a ChatGPT, but you can speak with characters. And at Featherless, we've made the same called Wyvern Chat, where you can talk to different characters. Let's talk with maybe Jay Stellis of the famous Netflix show Arcane. And this in the background basically uses an open model to simulate a conversation. Basically, it's all fancy prompting, and with a fine-tuned model that was also a role-play model. So let's say, hello Jace, I'm at AI Thinkers today. How are you doing? Now my boss always told me never to do live demos because they don't work, but let's see. And then you can talk with Jace or whatever your favorite character is.
Where are some parts for you?
This is like the, how do you say it?
Dialogue and...
Yeah, dialogue and, exactly. Like the dialogue and the thoughts. But, yes?
Oh, sorry. Where do you find the training set to do this? Are these actual characters from?
We actually have a whole community of people that make these character cards. They make it themselves, they can upload it, they can make whatever cards they want. We have a team that screens them because we also have platforms like Chop and other stuff who it's a messed up world sometimes as well. But we have a team that screens all character cards, and we have also LLMs that filter character cards. This is not open source yet, by the way. We hope to open source it in the future, but it's free to use. We have some models that are free to use, and you can bring your own API key of any platform to use as well. You also have the questions?
Yeah. So a follow-up question is, but where is the data coming from? It's like the scripts from the show, like how are they trained?
No, basically what people do is they create a character card. Maybe I can show you one.
Because I suppose that like Jace needs to speak like Jace, right?
Yes.
And know things that Jace is supposed to do because it's like part of the like
Yeah.
world building, this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So people
where
actually,
is this stuff coming from?
people provide all the information from, well, maybe Jace is a bad example because the new LLMs will know about Jace because it's such a famous show and it's such a famous character. But let's say you would want to make a character about you. You would just give a description of what you want to do, how you would speak. You can do this without fine-tuning even. You can do this with just prompting. And then people just fill in these character cards with his personality, examples of the dialogue. People go really extreme, depending how specific you want it. And then it will speak like Jace, or at least they will try to have it speak like Jace. But a lot of people spend like hours refining just one character. But you should try it, it's really fun. I think it's quite good.
Question about the hardware that you were talking about before. I see that you have a gaming laptop there.
Yes, this
So
is...
do we have any hope of running any of the, let's say, most interesting models locally, or like an M1 Apple Silicon?
I could say you could run like with Llama CPP and stuff like that. you can run all of the smaller models, like sub 7, maybe even 12 billion parameters on your laptop, depending on how technical you are. But no worries, because I have a present for you at the end. Okay, my PC crashed.
You're gonna throw GPUs on the crowd.
Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about GPUs, because my PC just crashed. I'm gonna restart for a second. Meanwhile, I will talk about another project I made. So there recently was also the Deep Research project by OpenAI, all famous now. Yesterday they released it for ChatGPT Plus subscribers. But before that it was $200 for subscription. So when you could do 100 queries with that, so that is like $2 per query. I've made an open source version as well.
For the sake of something happened with the TV.
No, it's my PC crashed.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's been crashing all day today, but it's fine. I'll start it. You guys can see all the games.
Are you planning to make your previous project also available through voice?
Yes, we are actually, last week we announced our real-time voice API, similar to GPT, what GPT has, so speech-to-speech, which will also be added to Ivan Chat, so you'll be able to just speak with it and it'll instantly speak back. Okay. Yes?
Do you have any research about why people want to talk to characters, or is it like more extending into if they want to talk to the person to?
That's interesting. Actually, an interesting fact is that most of the users, you would expect it to be maybe lonely men, but a lot of them are actually females. Like a large part of our crowd that are using this service are females from research we've done. So I don't know exactly the reason why or why that's happening, but I think it's just like a form of companionship people are looking for. Okay, so deep research. Let me actually restart my cursor. In the meanwhile,
maybe interesting tidbit. I tried to run R1 full scale locally over a striped network set of 4090s, and it managed to run at like 2-3 tokens per second. It was a 1.58-bit quantized model, and I learned that if you network scale, if you stripe a very large language model over a network, your bottleneck is latency. So it is the latency between the GPUs to do the whole network, and that latency isn't very fixable, so I was a bit disappointed, but you can do that with Llama CPP in, I think, RPC mode it's called, Llama CPP RPC. It's actually very simple to run, and then you can cluster a very large model. So besides the fact that you could actually run the model, 3 tokens per second is not exactly...
And to continue on that, DeepSeek this week is releasing a lot of tips and tricks to improve inference. So for the more technical people out here, I will be sure to check that out. Okay, so deep dive. The deep research copy, open source copy. I'm actually not going to use DeepSeek R1 because I've been testing Qwen 2.5 and I think it's an underrated model. It's the competitor, it's from Alibaba, the Chinese company.
The Qwen is still DeepSeek, right?
Yeah, exactly. We also, maybe I can try that one as well. DeepSeek, R1, Qwen, is still 32B, we have a 72B. Don't have a 72B, so I'll just use this one for now. What do I want? What are the latest Dua Lipa songs? While this runs, I will get you guys my present for all of you builders here.
What are the models running on?
So the inference is running on Featherless AI. We're a serverless inference provider, and I have a present for all of you. I have a month free of inference of all open models. You just have to make an account and then fill in that code, Tinkerers, and then you get a premium subscription. Please use it. I have fought hard for this before with my boss, so feel free to use it. And it's you can make unlimited calls during a whole month with this. So yeah.
To any model?
To any model.
Any model. Okay.
All models on Hugging Face, all open weight models on Hugging Face.
No limit.
No limits, but we have a concurrency limit.
Okay.
So you can't do like 100, but it's like I think for like 70 B models, the premium subscription does 2 concurrencies, and for like 30 B models, it's 4 concurrencies. So you can select them.
And 600 B models?
We're currently hosting I think we have the Llama 405B one bit, but you don't have any larger ones currently, but we're planning on doing that as well.
What is the backend?
The backend, we're using VLLM.
No, like whose compute is running?
Oh, our compute.
Your compute?
Yeah, Featherless AI.
Okay, that's you have little stuff in the data center.
Oh no, we're using different GPU providers depending on the market. It's not we don't have a set GPU provider. We also have some of our own servers, but depends on.
So you have an infrastructure to run open source models?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if we don't have the hardware,
yes, exactly. Then you can use this.
Then we can use this.
Yeah.
And is it compatible with
OpenAI?
OpenAI versus like AI SDK, that kind of stuff?
For some, I would have to check, but we are fully OpenAI compatible. You just have to change. I can show it here. I don't want to show too much of our product right now.
I
But
guess the Versailles AI
yeah, you just have to
SDK
change.
is compatible to
OpenAI. Normally it should be.
API, so
Yeah, you just have to change these 2 lines, and then
exactly.
you can use it. Let's see on the deep dive. Yeah, so then it will ask more questions, and then it will do a research. I think I'm gonna round it off here to not take too much time, but if there are any more questions, feel free to ask me, and thank you for your attention.
Oh, yeah. You ask.
You can make a question.
Oh, sorry. So you asked a question in the previous form,
Yes.
right? And it was about a
Do it.
song.
Yeah, and then
So this is dynamically generated by like through the model,
Yes.
like a follow-up
It will ask-
with fields.
yeah, it will ask follow-up questions to know more about your question or question it has, and it will then create a research report.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting. So if you have a scenario where you have, let's say, a user journey where you are branching the journey into different scenarios,
Yeah, exactly.
then you can dynamically generate the form with everything that comes with it, like validation, everything.
Kind
Potentially,
of.
at
Like
least.
currently, it's very basic. Like currently,
Yes.
it asks 3 follow-up. Well, you can. I've hard coded it to only ask 3 follow-up questions, but like the code is like you can. It's online already. Maybe I can show that as well. It's all available on our Discord, fully open source here, and yeah, you can check out because it's very simple, very basic. You can probably just put it in the cursor and ask it to make the changes for you. But yeah, it should be possible. Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Are you spinning up a new model?
No.
So you're like sharing?
Yes. Yeah. And for example, we now have 3,000 ALNOT models. Of course, those are not all loaded into our GPU. So we hot swap them. Like the most popular models will always be in, of course. And we might even spin up a specific GPU if we notice that model is being called. For example, for DeepSeek, R1, when the DeepSeek API went down, we had like 4 GPUs permanently running DeepSeek requests, right? But for example, for these niche models, like 8 billion models that maybe one user uses, it might only be up for like a few hours and then get swapped out. Yes?
So what is the largest context window that you have in any of the models?
32K at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been playing with Google's 1 million or 2 million.
Yeah, the Flash.
And it's like, if anyone hasn't played with it and has a lot of data, I suggest you try it, because it is definitely a new angle that is kind of unknown, because you can pretty much, like, say you have a programming problem, like, hey, I want to build this, you can chuck half a code base in there. It takes a little while. 300,000 tokens takes like 15 seconds for it to load up. Doesn't always come back. I guess not many people use that large context window, but it is definitely something new to experience with AI, I found, because it's way more accurate over the context window.
Yeah, maybe to continue on that, we at Featherless have announced last week our new foundational model, I would say, a new hybrid model, which is the same concept. We have merged a linear transformer and an attention transformer, so GPT-4 or attention transformers. And with a linear transformer, in theory, that's the thing we're trying to prove right now, you would be able to have unlimited context, and that's the same thing that Google is doing right now with 1 million tokens. So more announcements will be later this week, so be sure to check that out.
All right, thank you so much, Darin.